So what we're going to talk about now is in your first year, how to get out of that stage 1 and stage 2. And the 1 year marker and the $100,000 is arbitrary, and it is going to depend on where in the world you live, whether you already have an audience. If you already have an audience, that number might be a little bit higher for you. If you're starting from 0 and you don't have any experience within communities, that timeline might be a little bit longer, or that number might be a little bit lower. So I'd love for you to take a minute right now and think about what an appropriate timeline is for you to get through these stages, and then what is like the appropriate goal for you. And remember, that goal should leave room for you to make a full-time salary from your community, if that's your goal. If that's not your goal, then that number could be lower. It could be something else. But I'd love for you to this is what I'm giving you as a starting point, but I'd love for you to think about it for yourself and think about what the timeline is for you and what the revenue goal would be for you. If you could put that into the chat when you have it, I'd love to see how people are thinking about this. So this presentation is based around in 1 year, you're going to make 100K from your community, but that's a very arbitrary amount of time and an arbitrary amount of money. So I want you to think about that for yourself and think about whether is that the right time frame and amount of money for your community, or is it something different for you? Yeah, 1 year goal, 50K from new community, great. 65K for year 1 with degree of discounting, then head towards 100K, great. 1.5 years to get to 100 plus active members from around the world actively participating in our Working with Street Children community. No monetary goal. Yeah, if you're starting a free community, the monetary goal won't make a difference. I'll be happy with 50K in 1 year. Susie, I hope we can reframe that to what you just settle for versus what you would be excited by. I think I could get a paid community up and going in 6 months. Money is hard for me. If I'm saying that I need for full-time income, then 75K. Yeah. So again, your number doesn't have to be 100K, but I really want to encourage you to push beyond just the bare minimum and think about it from a place of abundance. Think about it from a place of what can be possible for you if it is 100K or if it is even more than that. So it doesn't mean that you're going to reach 100K, but just having that in your mind is a really encouraging push that will push you to get really creative and think about things in a whole different way. And knowing that it's entirely possible that you don't get to 100K, but maybe if you're going for 100K, you'll get to 80 instead of the 50 that you were thinking about. So I encourage you to push as much as you can, while staying within a realistic realm of possibility. Cool. There's so much more in the chat. Yeah, we can talk more at the end about all the stuff that comes up when you're pushing yourself to go bigger than it feels like you've seen be possible. I'd love to talk more about that because that's real too. And yeah, I think the more examples we see of communities that are doing this and are doing this in a way that feels right to us and not just in selling things in a sleazy way or doing things that are out of integrity. I think the more examples we see, the more kind of real it can become.